guys, this is Cassandra Williams from Educational Innovation 360. This is Fast Track Friday. Today we're going to talk about what do you do to ensure that everybody gets home on day one. So thank you for joining us with this session. This is for principals, our leadership, who are always tested on day one, right? So hopefully we can talk about what are some of the logistics that is necessary and relationships and even thinking about equity to make day one a success. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so day one is about setting the stage for success. The first day really sets the tone for the entire school year. So it's just not only about buses, let me be honest. It's about, leadership. What does your leadership say? How do you handle student dismissal? Is it chaos, right? And then your ongoing commitment to safety. So these are three pillars. What is your student impact, your leadership influence, and attendance reality? Because we all know when students feel seen and supported from the very initial day that they walk in the door, research shows that they're most likely to be consistent and attend ongoing and engage in learning. I want to say the world is talking about the current attendance landscape. So we are seeing some attendance trends. The average daily attendance has dropped from like 95% pre-pandemic to about 90%. So we know chronic absenteeism affects over 15 million students through the year, and so including 1/3 of high schoolers. That was from the Learning Policy Institute. So we have to respond with intention and think of what are our proactive systems that we have in place. Here's the information. Right? So here's some strategies I like to say. So what are some innovative strategies that you are doing? So let's kind of explore some of the things. So think about real-time bus tracking. This app kind of allows for kind of families to kind of know and monitor, pick up, drop off, kind of what's going on. We have starting to see in different schools this digital check-in system where they're using badges or QR codes to really confirm student location. And then we think about what are the transportation command centers, right? So just temporary setups, especially for day one. What is the centralized monitoring systems that we have in support for our K-12 systems? Everything that I am always saying is all about building personal connections. So think about success on day one. You have to have these three things. What are you doing for personal phone calls? What does the home visits look like? And how does your buddy system even work? So thinking about, it takes heart, it takes dedication, and it takes a lot of personalization. So where you're calling family to confirm details to kind of ease that anxiety. You're doing home visits to build that trust, kind of to reduce absenteeism. That has gone up by 25%. And think about your buddy systems, right? We're pairing older with younger for safety and just to help with that connection so they feel welcome at school as well. So this is where we focus on you as the leader, your leadership in action. What are you doing to make sure you are present? So you are seen, you greet the students, and at drop-off, you're cross-checking at dismissal, you're talking and with families in real time. And so these small little actions can show that we care and allow us to spend time with families and address issues like immediately. And then it really talks about like what is accountability, because this sets the expectation for the rest of the year. So think about how are you visible, how are you reinforcing these safety metrics, and what are you doing to respond immediately to issues that arise. I always say there are multiple ways that you can skin a cat. So thinking about how are you reaching out to your family, especially with engagement. So clear communication, it reduces kind of this chaotic factor. Thinking about what are the multiple channels you're using. So I like to say you're texting for quick updates. You are using social media for visual reminders for families. You're using emails for just detailed logistics. Thinking about how you're utilizing school apps for real-time alerts. And then thinking about what are your translated materials to ensure access for all families. And one of the things I was working with LAUSD, and one of the principals, she struggled just to get this translated content out in time. And so what she did have, she realized that some of the families were complaining about the change in language, and they're pretty much saying, hey, I don't understand this, is too much educational jargon, I'm not sure what this means. And so families were able to translate and support the school in this initiative and take out some of the educational jargon in the conversation that was going back and forth in translated documents, right? So you gotta have a pulse on what is going on to make sure that this is addressed in your space. So I'm all about culturally responsive transportation and planning. So equity matters in every part, like every fabric of the dismissal. So when we're thinking about, offering translation in all community languages and not just maybe one or two. Thinking about how do we build flexible plans. What does that even look like? So for students with unstable housing situations, what opportunities do we have to offer as well? What are we doing with our population, our SPED accommodations, and ensuring that all students have access that have disabilities, and then our cultural consideration. Do we respect cultural norms on student independence? Please don't do this alone. Think about how can you leverage your community. Your community has so many resources and we don't leverage it enough. We have this idea, I know when I speak to many principals, they have this idea of we get this here and you get this there. No, you can get so much if you come together and connect with your families. So think of your community as partners, and they're powerful partners. So I've seen in different places where businesses can sponsor bus monitors. I've even seen neighborhood watch groups monitor routes. I've even seen churches provide kind of safe waiting areas as well. Even of course, your local police help with the flow and ease of traffic. And then thinking about how we build our safety net with our village that we very much serve. So last but not least, your leadership makes a difference. So with this idea, we think about the key takeaways. Here are the key takeaways. You need to start planning early. Use every contact that you have with other leaders in your building and school community to build that trust. So relationship is key. Use every contact, every point to build trust as well. Build systems that continue to do well over time. Of course, you're making already safety a part of your culture year after year. And think of when students feel safe, you have developed that culture of care and they stay engaged. So I hope these tips help. I hope you are ready for day one and you're as excited as your students are for coming back to school. If you have any questions, DM me or get in contact with me. Talk to you later. Bye.